I just want to say hi, everyone. This is
One
Ellie
second,
Cohen.
Robert Cohen. Hold up for a second. I'm going to introduce you actually.
Oh, okay,
Hold
go
on,
ahead.
though. Yeah, it's 2:03
Well,
right
we could do
now.
that. We could do this while we're waiting for I see a lot of people are joining as we speak, but it
Right.
doesn't. You don't have
Yeah.
to wait till they're done. You introduce me first and whoever's here, and then I
Okay.
won't waste time from
All
the.
right. Sure. No problem. Okay. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Before we get started with today's webinar, I would like to introduce Rabbi Eli Cohen from the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, who enables these webinars and these programming. And we're excited for him to be here today. And Rabbi Cohen, the Chavod.
Yeah, hi. So Rabbi Eli Cohen, Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. Sorry, I should give you my screen also. No, you see me, right?
Yes.
You do see me. Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm here in the office of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. We're excited to have everybody on board. This series and all the series that we do are enabled by funding from New York City's Department of Youth and Community Development, DYCD, and they help us also with the business counseling and other services that are available to help you grow your business. And we would also like to publicize your business. So if you have a business website, please send the web address of your business to, you can put it in the chat if you like over here, or you can send it to us separately by the email, and we'll be happy to publicize your business.
That's awesome, and it's a great value. So thank you very much. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Yehoshua Wordy here, and we're excited for you to be here at our monthly small business webinar series, where we bring to you topics of business development and growth, so that you could take these ideas and develop them and use them to grow your business. We're excited. This month's topic, we have a very, very distinguished presenter, Ran Bitterman, who's been a business coach and advisor and strategist for many years. He came to us very highly recommended by some local entrepreneurs in the community that have been using him to help them systemize and focus their business. And Ron is somebody who puts a lot of thought into entrepreneurship, and a lot of entrepreneurs, they get entrepreneur burnout. They work very hard and they don't see they're not seeing the results they're looking for. And Ron is somebody who's put a lot of thought into that condition and how you could improve it. And so we're excited for Ron to present today and share his wisdom on the subject. Typically, the way the webinar works is that we do the presentation first and we have a Q&A segment at the end. However, there is a chat box here at the bottom for all of you that are using Zoom. If you're familiar with Zoom, towards the bottom of your Zoom controls, there's something called chat. If you type your questions in, I'm going to be monitoring those questions and I'll bring them up to Ron along the way. And of course, if Ron has any questions he wants to ask of you, he'll ask those questions. He'll stop and ask questions along the way, and you can respond. And we'll make sure we cover the full class for today. So without further ado, Ron, welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Yoshua, for the introduction. Coming to you guys from the Holy Land today. So just before we start this session, I would like to say that if there is any alarm coming in the background, I might need to leave the room maybe 10, 15 minutes just for you to know. If you guys would excuse me ahead of time, it would be appreciated. But hey, we're positive, right, Yoshua? We're going to be positive,
Yes,
and,
yes, we're
and
going to be
hopefully
positive.
we're going to be all good.
Yes,
So, just to give you a little bit of a background, I've been in business now just about 30 years, mostly around real estate, helping real estate brokerages, people that are brand new in the business, people that have been in business for a long time, at all levels. So, beginners, intermediate, advanced, uh, single agent, single brokers. I also help a lot of small businesses to succeed, which is really what attracted me to come here today and try to, put a little bit of my input here and see if I can help you guys. It's going to be a little bit unconventional because the stuff that I talk about normally is not the typical business to-do list or talking about, how things are done systemizing the business operations, and all these different things. I'm going to talk to you guys about the person versus the business. Okay, so we're going to talk about the person. And that's really what's important right now, the person, because if you understand how you work inside of you, it's going to be much easier for you to achieve success at any business. So this is, generalized information that I think is great for anybody to be exposed to. If you have any questions, I highly recommend you to ask questions here on the chat, but we will leave some room at the end for some Q's and A's for you guys to ask more questions. I normally don't like to do I don't like to be the one speaking all the time. So I might ask you guys maybe to participate.
Yes, sure.
Right, as we go
Yes.
along. And it will be also great for me to maybe, I don't know if we have time, Yoshua, for people to do a short intro, like, hey, my name is, I am, X years old. I
Yeah,
own this
we could
business
do
of
it
10
very
years.
quickly if you don't mind. If everyone could just unmute yourself. You don't have to put on your camera if you don't want. But I guess I'll just call you out quickly. Just say who you are and what you do in less than 5 seconds. So I see Shalom. Go ahead, Shalom. What do you do?
Hi, I have home decor and gift brand, unique. It's called Death Decor, and it's items that are dark elegance.
Excellent. I see Joseph. Go for it, Joseph.
Hey, my name is Joe or Joseph. I'm an artist and an aspiring entrepreneur.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Let's go to David. David. David.
There's
Or
two
David.
Davids, I
There's
guess.
two Davids. David Azarad, are you there?
Yeah, I'll just go, I guess. So I'm building a community of young entrepreneurs.
Okay, awesome. Nice to meet you. Josh, are you there? Josh?
Who, me?
Yes, go for it. Just introduce yourself, who you are and
How
what
you
you do.
doing? My name is Josh Wagoski. I'm a co-founder of Kosher Up, and I also have a handyman business and construction business.
Okay, great. Joseph. Joseph,
Joseph B.
are you there? All right, Julian.
Hi, my name is Julian Sackett. Trying to also build, a tech startup for the Jewish communities. Nice to meet
Awesome. Likewise. Yochai Wallman. Yochai,
Yes.
just introduce yourself, who you are and what you do.
Yochai, I'm a project manager in software projects and integration of technology to businesses.
Okay, nice. And David Litauer. David? I guess he's passive. All right, I think we went through
Okay.
everybody. Go for it. Yes.
All right, good. So, welcome. I hope that what I'm giving you tonight is going to be easy to understand. So, we're going to talk about two dimensions here. The first dimension is the DISC profile, which I don't know if you guys are familiarized with. The DISC stands for DISC. These are four different personality styles that each of them, basically to know which one you are, you'll take an assessment. Okay, there's an online assessment. If you want, later on, you can reach out to Yoshua. He's going to I'll send you a link where they can go and get the assessment done. This way they can have their own profile and understand exactly what we're going to be talking about. I'm not going to share too much about the DISC, but it is important for you to understand that people make decisions based on certain drives, okay? And how they make a decision is basically what the DISC profile is all about. So the DISC profile it has four different styles, and then we have also combination styles. So in general, the four styles are D, I, S, and C. That's what the DISC stands for. The D is representing the driver, which I'll explain a little bit what it is. And then the I is representing the influencer. Okay, the influencer stands for the I. The S stands for steady. And then the C is conscientiousness, which is also known as the analytical. Now, depending on, I do a lot of coaching and consulting. When I work with a client, I always like to know what the client, this profile is, because then I know how to help him. If you understand your profile, it is much easier for you to understand your style. And then when you take your style, it's easier for you to also match your style with other styles. So this is going to come across when you guys need to hire people. You'll need this information. It's going to come across in sales. It's going to come across in management, in entrepreneurship in general. And what's entrepreneurship? You guys want to build businesses. And to build a business, you really need to understand the components. But the most important thing in every business is hiring. And if you want to hire the right people, you need to know which personality style is needed for each of the positions that are opening up in your companies. So if you right now running your business as a one-man show, okay, which I did for many years, then you're going to be doing a lot of the stuff that needs to be done. And because you're doing a lot of different things, you are not going to be the perfect fit for each and every one of those things. Therefore, you want to think into the future to make sure that you are understanding who would be the perfect person for the job that is needed to be delegated. Okay, so if I'm one-man show and I'm running the whole thing, sales, administrative, customer service, you name it, each of those would call for a different profile. And so if you understand the profiles, which I'll get into it in a second, if you understand these profiles and you understand which one you are, then it's easier to help you become versatile, number one, in your approach. Okay, some of these profiles are opposites. So for example, if a driver needs to deal with a D profile, needs to deal with an S profile, it's going to get complicated because these are completely two opposites. And also the I and the C, the influencer and the conscientiousness, are completely two opposites. Why is it important to know that? When you guys look, it doesn't matter which business you're running, you need to sell. Okay, sales is at the top of the funnel of every business. You need to sell your product, you need to sell your ideas, you need to sell your services, etc. Okay, so in order to sell something, you need to know your product, obviously, or your service, but then the delivery of the actual presentation of the product needs to happen in a very specific way. If you are, for example, a D profile, and you're presenting to your opposite, which is an S profile, in the majority of cases, you will fail in that sale. You're not going to make the sale. And you could feel frustrated. You could think about, oh, maybe it's my product, maybe it's me, maybe they don't like me, maybe it's not the right timing, and you're gonna have a lot of maybes. Working with over 5,000 people that I've worked with in the last 30 years, who each and every one of them took the DISC personality assessment, each and every one of them, when they understood the DISC profile and they understood how to relate to another person who is not their style, who is the opposite, or maybe some combo, they were a lot more successful on being versatile, meaning being capable. Being versatile means that you're capable to behave in many different ways, not just in your own way. For example, if I'm a driver, drivers like to be in control. Drivers are, you can call them control freaks. They like to get things done. The majority of entrepreneurs, by the way, have some form of a D in their profile. Now, if I'm going to be the aggressive driver here, okay, and assertive and strong, and I'm going to come across someone who is the opposite of me. For example, someone who is more soft, okay, soft-spoken, someone who is driven by completely different things, and I'm going to sell him my product the way that I would like to buy it, or the way that I would like to maybe be sold on the product. I'm going to lose this person probably right from like the first 2 minutes. They're already not going to be very attracted to what I'm trying to convey. And you can fail a lot in your business thinking that something is wrong with you or the product, and it's really nothing wrong with you and nothing is wrong with the product. And by the way, nothing is wrong with the lead, with the sales lead, with the person you're trying to sell. What is really missing is understanding on how to sell. Now, below sales, we're going to have administration. When you hire an administrative assistant to run the administrative department, you need to know what is the perfect profile for someone who's running the show behind the scene. The person doing sales in the front of the store needs to be an ID profile or an I profile or an IS combination. So there are many different variations here, and I just want to put that aside right now. And I want to jump into the other component that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into the disc, and I'll connect everything towards the end. So, life experience, in general, the way we humans experience life is three-dimensional. You have the mental, which is our thoughts. We have the spiritual, okay, which is really our feelings. And then we have the physical, which is the physical body. Now, in order for your business to succeed, obviously, you guys already know you need to have a product, you need to have a vision, you need to have a mission. All of those components need to be in place in order for you to be moving forward successfully. But if all of those three dimensions that I just mentioned, your mental is how you think about yourself and your business. Your mental is how you think about yourself and your product. The mental is how you think about your customers and how you think about stuff that's happening to you throughout the day. So that's the mental capacity, the mental dimension. The next dimension is how you feel. So how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about your customers? How do you feel about your business in general? So it's more of a feeling that comes from the chest, and the mental is more in the head. So you have the head, the chest, okay? And these two need to be aligned together with the physical, which is really action. The actions that you take is what I mean by physical, okay? So you got mental, you got feelings, and then words and actions. That's the triangle. Now, the triangle, in order for your business to manifest, if you want to manifest success and you've been working hard, as a matter of fact, I want to ask a question here very quickly. Let me ask you this. How many of you right now feel like you are working hard, but you're not seeing results that are going to match the effort that you're putting in? Like you put a lot of effort in, but you're not really getting a lot of, successes. Who feels like that? Just write down I on the text here on the right side of the chat.
Yeah, in the chat, you could do that, or you could also click on, there's a react button. You see the react? If you click on react, you could raise your hand. You could do
Yes.
raise your
Okay,
hand.
so I'm putting in a lot of work. I feel like I'm grinding, and I don't see the results that I want to see. So obviously that's a stage in every business, okay? At the beginning stages, you're going to feel this way. And this is, by the way, just to let you know, I'm sure you already know, but this is how businesses are. At the beginning stage, you need to put a lot of effort and probably not going to get results at all, or maybe get a little bit of results. To speed the process, to speed up this process, we need to understand this triangle. We need to understand how to put it together and then bring the disc, and together with the disc, understanding the triangle, aligning yourself with all three dimensions, and using the disc to execute what needs to happen in the field. So we're talking about feelings, which is emotions, the spiritual. We're talking about mental, which is thoughts. And then we're talking about your physical actions, your physical body. All of three needs to be aligned. So for example, hey, Ron, I'm taking a lot of results in my business. I'm making calls, we're doing products, we're sending out, marketing materials, etc., but we're not getting back results. Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is that your actions, which is a piece of the triangle, your actions are good, right? You're doing a lot of work on your actions. But then maybe while you're doing it, you have thoughts about fear. For example, what if what I'm doing right now is not going to work out? What if all this effort that I'm putting in is not going to pay out? What if people are not going to like my product? Right? What if what we're doing right now is not the right timing? Maybe I should do something else. So when you're trying to push your business forward at the beginning stage, you're going to have a lot of those thoughts. Doubt, fear, which are representing of negative feelings. So the actions are all positive. You're like, Ron, I'm putting in a lot of effort and I really don't understand why I'm not getting results. Okay, then we need to start digging into your thoughts. And one of the most difficult things is that controlling thoughts is impossible. Like you really can't control the speed of thoughts that are coming to you while you're working. Your mind is going to continuously working while you're doing the actions physically, working physically, but your mind is somewhere else and it's going and it's coming back. It goes. So you can pay attention to your thoughts and then you can control them. But when you don't pay attention to them, they control you in a way. So if your thought process, if this cycle of thinking is negative, because it's a habit, by the way, thoughts are habits. So if you're thinking in a certain way and it's not really positive, it's a negative way of thinking, and everything you do in the business actions wise is positive, now you have a positive and a negative. And because you have a positive and a negative, they're not going to bring the results you wish as quickly as you wish. You are slowing down success by thinking thoughts of doubt and fear. Okay? So I just want you guys to understand the idea. There is a way to control these things, and there are many different systems that you can utilize, including the DISC, which will help you take over control. But what I want you guys to understand right now is that all three needs to be aligned, meaning actions need to be positive. All of your thoughts need to be positive about your business. And then the emotions, the way you feel about what you do should also be positive. So you can have good thoughts and good deeds. Actions are good, thoughts are great, but then you have feelings of fear or feelings of doubt, because thoughts about fear, scary thoughts. What if this business is not going to work out? I just invested $100,000, $150,000 in my business. I don't see results yet. What's going to happen if? And I only have 30 days before I need to start paying these bills, and I got all this debt, and on and on and on. And that's fear. And the mind can go crazy. Okay, the mind can take you in many different directions. It works very quickly. And what comes right after as a result is feelings. You're going to start feeling anxiety. You're going to start feeling fear and doubt and uncomfortable in your body and stress, right? And now the thoughts are feeding the emotions that are negative, and one is feeding the other. So if I'm feeling negative, I'm going to have more negative thoughts. And if I have more negative thoughts, I'm going to have more negative feelings. And although all this is going on, okay, this volcano is happening inside of myself, I'm at work with a facade of, hey, everything is cool, everything is good and dandy, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm making calls, I'm doing sales, I'm producing, I'm doing whatever it is that you're selling, the services you're trying to accomplish success, while inside of you, there is chaos. And this is where I find most people failing. Most people don't know how to manage their thoughts and their emotions, especially men. Men are not even comfortable talking about feelings. Like, what do you mean how I feel? I know what I'm thinking about, but what I feel, I don't know what I'm feeling. So when I coach people, the majority of the people that I coach are not super connected to emotions. They're more connected to the logic. And then comes again the DISC profile, which I'll get into. So on the DISC, DISC, there are two that are completely logic. They're behaving with logic. Everything has to be logical, which is the D and the C profile. And then the I and S profile are all about emotions, how something feels. Now, if you are a DC profile or a C profile or an IS profile, it's going to make a big difference on controlling thoughts and feelings. Okay? So I'm taking a pause. I want to connect everything right now. So struggle often comes from two hidden factors, okay? First, fear, doubt, or scarcity thinking. You're thinking about lack of money, lack of success, okay? And the second one is really a lack of awareness about your natural style, which is the DISC of working and making decisions. how decisions needs to be made in your business. Should decisions even be made when you're in a negative cycle, thinking negative stuff, fear, doubt, not feeling so excited, not feeling positive, and then you still take action, you take a lot of action. But deep inside of you, there's a lot of doubt and fear and a lot of negative thoughts about, maybe this is not going to work out. So before you work on your business, before you work on, the product, the service, and the physical form of your business, I invite you to pause and to look at your inner process, okay? Not the outer, not the physical, but the metaphysical, which is your emotions and your feelings, and your thoughts. Pay attention to thoughts. What are you thinking about while you're working? What are you thinking about when someone hangs up on you and you call them, you're doing a sales call and they're like, okay, look, it's not for me. Let's, call me later. Don't call me anymore, whatever the story is. And you're getting a lot of negativity in your business. What is starting to happen to your inner process will depend on your awareness to those dimensions. You need to be aware of your thoughts and you need to be aware of your feelings while you're building your business. In a one-on-one meeting, how are you feeling? Okay, when you're doing a sales presentation, how do you feel? When you need to deal with drama and pissed off clients and and negative things that come your way, how do you deal with it emotionally and mentally? And then do you take that home? When you go home, when it's time to put the business behind and it's time to enter your home and to be, with your significant other and with your kids, with your family, with friends. So you need to learn how to separate these things. So there's a lot of different things, a lot of components that will make you successful in your business or not successful. But before you get to actually building the business, it's best to take a pause and build yourself, understanding yourself, understanding what motivates you, understanding what makes you frustrated and why, asking deep questions to yourself and finding the answers. And slowly, while you're in this process of getting to know yourself better. And this is really what this is all about. Getting to know yourself better will make your business grow faster. The more you know yourself, the more you're self-developed, the easier it is for you to succeed in your business and get results. People that are highly successful get to a point where they, obviously stress is always going to be around, but top leaders, okay, top CEOs of really large companies have the capacity to deal with stress in a different way than other people. They are successful because they control what's going on internally. And when you can control what's going on internally, you are controlling automatically what comes out externally. The world we see outside is connected to the world inside, thoughts and feelings. And you need to understand that, because if you're going about your business and you're like, I don't care about how I feel and think, who cares? Let's just do what needs to be done. You should care, because when you are able to align all of those three dimensions and they're all positive, you're speeding up the growth process 10 folds, 100 folds, 1,000 folds. You know, those people that begin a business and all of a sudden they have this breakthrough moment. Everybody has these moments in their business. You have breakthroughs and breakdowns. In order to create breakthroughs, you have to go through some breakdowns first. So you need to understand that. What is a breakdown? Is a disconnect between the inner world, which is the feelings and thoughts, and the outer world, which are the actions you're taking. You can act positive all day and take action in your business while inside you have fear, doubt, and your mind is full of negative thoughts. So it's very difficult to build something successfully when you're not in tune with your inner process. The alignment edge really is talking about, it's basically a powerful tool that you use together with the DISC profile. The alignment is to align yourself Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions need to be aligned on the vision, mission, and where you want to be in 10 years. And this is really something extremely important when you talk about the DISC profile, depending on your personality style. So let me just touch briefly on what is the DISC, and it will help you connect at the end all the dots. So physical actions, we're talking about the daily habits and the steps that you take in your business. Mental beliefs are your thoughts about what is possible for you and your business, or not possible, impossible.
Is there any like a visual you could share? Maybe help people sort of visualize what you're describing?
We can open up the disk. I'll do it in 1 second. I'm going to try to bring in a graph that explains it, but I'm going to connect the dots right now. It's going to be easier for people to understand. On the disk profile, the D style are people that are driven, they're decisive and action oriented. Like they take action, like they shoot, then they aim. Okay, that's the D style. But they may overlook details, or they may overlook emotions, as an example. Okay, so that's the D. The D is people that are decisive, assertive, aggressive, go-getters. They get things done. If you need something done, you need to call the D to get it done. Okay? The I style are people that are enthusiastic. Okay, they're creative, they're people focused, they like to work in teams, they like to talk, they like to express themselves, but they may struggle with the follow through, as an example. So they could be fantastic salespeople, but when it's time to finish what you've started, they might have some difficulties. So the I style are those that we call people's person. Okay, if you know anyone will be the life of the party, you ask them a question and they go for 10, 15 minutes, they give you a long answer. That would be a perfect I. They talk with their body language, they smile a lot, they want everyone to be excited around them. So that's the I style. Then you have the S. The S style are people that are steady, dependable, and very careful, timid. They need safety, they need security, they want to feel safe, and they don't take any risks. Okay, for them it's really extremely difficult to take any risk whatsoever. So they will calculate a million times before they're going to take any action. Okay, but they may avoid also conflict. They may avoid risk. So if you're an S profile and you're an entrepreneur, there's going to be some challenges for you to become successful. The C style are people that are analytical. Okay, we're talking about perfectionists. People are precise. They're very good with numbers. They're analyzing everything to the end. They care about quality, so quality focused. But they may overanalyze and delay decisions because they want to take the time to discover all the details, etc. So to summarize this, the D is the decisive person, the go-getter. The I is what we call the expressive. They express themselves. They're very good salespeople. S style are perfect at administrative tasks. Okay, they're very loyal. They're very careful. They're very timid. They're soft-spoken. They don't. You can't bring them to like a high volume. They always need to be like down here. It's going to be the explanation needs to be more like that. And they're very, very sensitive. So you need to be very careful with what you say. They don't like confrontations. So you need to be careful not to bring any confrontations to the front. So these are important things to know and recognize. The C style are the analytical. And just think about a perfectionist. Everything has to be perfect. And if you guys fall under this category, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to move forward before things in your business are perfect. Like if you ever felt like you need to, just perfect the script before you start calling people, it has to be perfect, or the product needs to be worked on right now. We can't really bring it to market, and you're spending a lot of time on the product or the service to perfect it before you bring it out. So if you feel like you're not moving quickly, I know the similarity between disc and the color system from the book Surrounded by Idiots. Yes, it's very similar. By the way, there's a couple of different, I mean, there's many different techniques, but they all going to, at the end of the day, they're all going to be narrowed down into 4, which then can be also 16 profiles. I'll give an example of what I'm saying. The disc is 4 different profiles, but someone can also be a DI. Like I can be a driver and expressive at the same time. Okay? Or I can be a driver analytical. So I'm a driver, but I'm also a perfectionist. So we also have combinations of profiles. But the dominance one, which you will get immediately when you do the assessment, when you get the results from the DISC assessment, you immediately understand the profile. And then you also know how to work with other profiles and how to match to other profiles. So you're more versatile in your approach. You also should know your profile because you need to know if you're the entrepreneur, when you're the business owner, you need to know who are the best people to plug each segment of your business to that person. For example, if I'm looking for someone to manage my administrative department, I need to look for someone with a C profile. There has to be a perfectionist, detail oriented, but I also need them to be loyal. I need them to be steady. I need them to protect me and be there when I'm not there. Okay, watch my back, as we call it. So these are the S profile. Yeshua, you want to say something?
Well, I just wanted to ask a question. I was thinking, well, I should. Anyway,
Yes.
when you're describing all this, there was this other thing. There's a Myers-Briggs personality. That's different than this, or that's a similar thing to this. What is that?
When you take all of those personality styles to the core, they're all going to be the same. They're going to tell you at the core 4 different styles. And when you do the assessment, you're going to have one that is the dominant style. Okay, the dominant style. For example, if you feel always driven, like you're driven, you feel this drive to move forward and to do, I don't care about the details. Let's just go and let's start selling. Let's put the product on the market, even if it's not the time. Let's just put it out there. Let's push it. Let's see what happens. If you feel like you're always taking risks and you love it and it excites you to take a risk, then you're definitely not an S profile and you're probably a D. So there are many different, like today, when I speak with someone, I can ask a couple of questions, and just based on the answers, I would probably have an idea of their profile. Okay? So I'm going to summarize this for you because look, the subject is very hard to accomplish in 45 minutes, impossible. Okay, this is something that takes time to learn. But what we can accomplish right now in 45 is that at the end of this session, we'll share with you a link. You're going to go to this link and take the assessment. And then we're going to have your profiles, which I will then deliver by email to Yoshua. And we could maybe in the future, near future, hopefully, do another session where I can explain to you each one, and then we can bring you up and talk about your own profile. And then also talk about your style of business. For example, home decor, that Shalom mentioned before, right? Home decor, to run such a business, first of all, to get into this business. What is attracting somebody? Maybe Shalom, you want to share with us for a second. Maybe we can take this as a good example.
Go for it.
Shalom, maybe you can tell us what got you involved in home decor, like why home decor?
Okay, so it's funny. I guess there's many levels of how something occurs, but I guess we'll stick with the simple, straightforward one, which is I'll make this very brief. I was working in online e-commerce, working for someone for many years. He was selling pharmaceuticals over the counter. When I wanted to go on my own, I was thinking, what's the point of least resistance? What do I know? I know Amazon, but I wasn't going to go in competition. It was during COVID. I thought, what kind of items are people buying and selling? Home items. So that's what led me to home decor space, home decor accessories. And then I was looking for a way to differentiate myself. I found a niche, and over time I found more clarity, and it's developed into, let's say, a brand that I'm developing unique products.
Okay, very, very interesting. So the fact you mentioned before, you said go on my own, right? Why did you feel that you want to do that?
I didn't want to work for someone else. I didn't like the limitations that were involved. I also felt what I'm going to go my whole life, and uh, don't I also have the abilities to create some success for myself and on my terms, let's say.
Okay, so you didn't like working for someone else. You want to be on your terms, and it's your own success, right? But that's a pretty risky step, right? For someone that, for example, someone that has maybe you worked for someone else. You mentioned before. For how long did you work there?
About 11 years.
Okay, so that's a long time to work for someone to say I want to do something by myself. What made you take this leap?
Well, the truth is, in my case, I was burnt out several years earlier, and due to a lot of self-doubt and self-fear, thank God I have a family as well, so there was financial pressures as well. Due to those self-doubts and self-fears, is what I just forced myself to stay much longer than I wanted to.
Okay, so what do you feel is driving you right now? What's driving you, not the business?
That's a great question, hard question. It requires obviously a lot more thought for me to really answer that. But I would say what's driving me is, I would say number one, please God, to be making a viable parnasa for my family. And I think number two, also almost like proving to myself that I could be successful in this,
Okay,
or maybe proving to others. I don't know, but that's part of that.
so prove that what needs
That
to
I
happen.
that I can create something successful and viable. Let's say in this case, a business that can be a thriving business success.
So first of all, congratulations, because the majority of people, 90%, are not going to take the leap of faith to do what you just
Okay.
decided to do. Okay, and you know that. It's a big decision. But with the decision come, like you said before, self-doubt and self-fear, which is, by the way, self-doubt and self-fear will immediately create negative thoughts and negative emotions,
Yep.
right? Worrying about what if, right? What if this thing is not going to work? And then what? And then you start thinking about okay, so if this doesn't work, here's what I'm going to do next. You're going to have your A, B's, and C's in place already. So, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. It's thanks for sharing, first of all, because this is very important for people to understand. I'm sure many of us are in the same situation, right? So
Thank you.
self-doubt and self-fear, by the way, everyone has, but it depends on which profile you are, will determine how you're going to deal with the self-doubt and fear. We all have it. The question is how to deal with it. And the fact that you pull the trigger shows that even if you're analyzing and you want to make sure and you take 11 years to make a decision, when you do make a decision, you took a risk, which normally the majority of people are not going to take that risk. Okay, it's financial risk and other risk as well. You have a family, you need to bring parnasai and so forth. So this is something very, it's a big deal. Now, if you want to experience the ease of success, which is really you feel like you're synchronized, like you just right now it's not there, and you need to do something. Because when we think about the solutions, we always think about the business. Like, what can maybe I need more advertising? Maybe I need a salesperson. I need to hire someone in the back. Well, you got to. So it's the thoughts are always about to do, but it's not necessarily the case. If you can eliminate, because you have bitachon and emunah in Hashem, which is really what it's all about. If you have a strong bitachon that's really strong inside of you, you shouldn't have fear and doubt. So if I have fear and doubt, it's first of all, it's showing me that I don't have enough bitachon. Thank you, Hashem, for showing me that I don't have enough bitachon. Let me work on my bitachon. I don't need to work on the business. The business is a reflection, is a mirror of you. So if you need more success in your business needs you to stop doubting and stop fearing. Because if you stop to doubt, and that takes time, if you stop to doubt and you stop the fear because you work slowly towards bitachon and emunah, all of a sudden you have less fear, less doubt, and oh wow, I got this phone call. Oh, this person called me. Oh, what a coincidence that this person, all of a sudden, things come to you. When they come to you? When you stop repelling them. How do you repel stuff in people? Fear, doubt, anger, lack of patience. People can read through you. They see that you're stressed. They think, oh, maybe something's going on with this guy. Maybe I shouldn't buy his product. Like, people judge you based on your energy. Some people can actually feel your energy, and they will be, oh, I don't feel it with this guy. We don't synchronize. So your business success, I don't know your vision, in 5 years, 10 years is other things we need to talk about. But if we take your business in 5, 10 years, and you tell me, Ron, right now we are doing X, and in 5 years, I want to be at 5X, and here's what 5X looks like in my business, and here's what 5X is looking like in my personal life. Here's what's going to happen to my life and my family if I reach 5X in 5 years. And you start talking about that, and then you're going to have other feelings. When you think about your vision that's here, your vision, you can see it because you're thinking about it. Where I'm going to be, where I would like to be in 5 years in my business. Here's where I want to be. My business should be doing that. Okay, great. So if your business should be doing that, let's say that you are there and your business is doing that. What is happening to your thoughts and your feelings right now? If I guaranteed, I told you, I'm signing right here. Okay, I'm giving you a check. This is what you're gonna earn in 5 years for sure, 100% guaranteed. Would you feel less doubt and fear? If you knew that guaranteed in 5 years you're gonna be where you want to be in 5 years, would you feel less doubt and fear?
Are you asking again for me to respond?
Yes.
Okay.
If it was guaranteed that you will be successful in what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. These are really hard questions. I would love to actually sit through them and like write them out for myself, like to really think them carefully through, proper like answers. In my case, I think that I would have a lot less fears, at least financially. But I'm not sure that I would necessarily have solved maybe the underlying causes of these fears that I'm carrying, because the cause is not necessarily financially, it's within me, right? So I'm just answering you on a financial level. Let's say there would probably be those fears would not be there, but not
So in other
necessarily.
words, if you achieve the goal you're trying to achieve, you will be less doubtful and more, you'll have a lot more positive feelings and thoughts about your business.
Yeah, and probably about myself, but in my case, I certainly lack the clarity of what you're talking about. These visions, I don't have the clarity in my case yet.
Okay, so this is a perfect example to what needs to be done right now, in my opinion, in your business. First of all, home decor. You need to know what is it about. Like, what is home decor? It cannot just be product. There's got to be something behind the product. What are you trying to accomplish? What it means to you? You said something before. You said I can create some success for myself, but you said something else before. You said I want to prove to myself and I want to prove to others that I can do this thing, right? So over there in that sentence is you have feelings and thoughts that you need to really sit down and write them down. And when you sit down and you write them down, how do I feel about that? And what's the thought process about this? Why do I want to prove to anyone or to myself? Where is this coming from? And you ask questions and you discover, you get some clarity about it. It can help you all of a sudden recognizing why you're doing it, which will then make you a lot stronger in the journey to sustain yourself in the journey to make sure that you're going to finish what you started. But to have a vision for your business, this 5-year vision is everyone should have. Anyone who's planning on owning a business or they own a business right now, they need to have a 10-year, 5-year, 1-year visions. I'm not even talking about business plan. I'm talking about a vision. Like where is the business going to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15, 20 years? Like what's the big vision? And once you have that, you can see the point, let's say in 5 years from now, if 5 years is going to look like that, how is that going to make me feel? The reason I'm mentioning this right now, because I want to bring together the feelings and the thoughts and the actions that you're taking that need to be aligned in this triangle. You got to feel excited, positive. You need to have like really good feelings about what's coming to you. Okay? You need to also convince yourself in a way that you already own it. Hashem is giving it to you. Why? Because you asked for it, and Hashem is going to give you what you're asking. Now you just need to do the work. So if I can feel better here about my future and my business and all the doubts are gone, and I can think clearly, positively about where my business needs to be in 5 years, and I can see it, I can vividly see it, I can see it in my mind, I can feel it in my body. Now, when I bring in the action portion, which is the physical, when I bring that in and I plug in the work, now you aligned yourself on all three levels, and success comes to you 5 times, 10 times, 20 times faster. I've worked with people that have been struggling 5 years, and then all of a sudden, in 6 to 12 months, they grew their business 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 10 times. Why? We didn't work on their business at all. We just worked on this process of the inner process. How do I feel and think about my business? Who am I? First of all, personality style. How do I make decisions? How do I make decisions about anything? My wife told me something. How am I going to make a decision based on what she just said? A good friend of mine just called me and said something. How am I going to react to what he just told me? So understanding what drives you is the disc profile. The disc is revealing to you your decisions, how you make them. And once you know and you can read about your profile, what's going to make you tick, what's going to piss you off, you can plan already ahead of time how to do things and how to connect with other people and how to relate to your own business and your own feelings. So the connection between the disc profile and the triangle of thinking and feeling and speaking or doing is going to bring you guys success way faster. It's not always about what's missing in your business. As a matter of fact, the majority of times it's not about your business at all. Okay, and I want to know, like, from all of you guys that are here, who is running their business like a one-man show? Like it's you and only you. You don't have any employees. You don't have anyone else. It's just you doing the business.
Well, I think we should at this point, because it's already almost an hour. We should open it up in general. I see people that want to ask questions in a
Yes,
general
please.
way. I see Al. So I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it looks like you've been waiting to ask something. If you could introduce yourself and go ahead. Avrami, you want to ask something? Okay.
Yes, it's just a lot of different points that you've mentioned in terms of as you mentioned as well about, who's running a business on their own. So, I mean, I'm near the beginning stages of working on a project, which is also a bit out of my zone of experience or expertise, but I've been developing and growing in myself as well. But sometimes I'm wondering, how do you focus in terms of your strengths? Like sometimes there's a lot of different, I'm trying to think of how to word it. Like sometimes there's many different requirements, both in the short term and the long term. And how do you kind of balance those out as you're developing and growing? Like, let's say short-term financial concerns, which need to be dealt with quicker. Like, let's say with somebody with a family, whatever it might be, that they need to bring in money quickly, while also developing their own projects to progress, hopefully, to a point where they can work for themselves. Sort of like, rather than taking that leap initially from employment, sort of phasing out from one to the other.
So when to make the move, or how the move is going to be made, right? How am I going to move away from being an employee and let go of this job and build my business full time? Is that the question?
Yeah, along those lines of how do you decide that when there's also many other factors at play?
Okay, so first of all, I think that once you recognize the disc profile and you're going to read about it a little bit and understand yourself a little bit better, okay, you will then understand what is holding you right now from your inner process dimension. Like what is holding you? Like right now, obviously you have doubts and you have some thoughts and you have some feelings about this, and it is a risk. You need to take a risk in order to go and take this thing to the next level. So first of all, the fact that you started something is exciting, and I'm sure you feel excitement about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Far more than I have working in other things. Yeah.
of course. So first of all, is excitement positive or negative?
Positive, definitely. It gives a certain drive as well.
Exactly. So now this excitement needs to start bringing you in to, obviously you started something. You need to now obviously invest the time and energy to develop it.
Mm.
Okay. And then once it's developed to where you need to develop it, then you can start actually bring it to market, whatever the product is or the service, you bring it to market while you still keep your job. Okay. And it sounds to me based on like your tonality, okay, and your rate of speech is showing a SC profile. Okay.
Huh.
And so when you take this profile test, you will recognize all of a sudden that you can utilize the SC profile to launch this business, and you'll also understand what's missing in order for this business to be successful. Like who am I and who can I not be? Even if I really want to, I can't be this salesman that goes on stage and is, throwing a million words in a second. So you need to recognize who you are. You need to recognize what your business is calling for. And then you'll know, okay, say the product is ready and you want to pull the trigger. You need to know what is missing as far as the disc, because some portions of your business will need you and you're the perfect person for it. And other portions of your business will call for someone else, which means you'll need to hire someone or maybe you'll need to partner with someone. But if you partner with someone, that someone needs to bring in the component that you're missing. So both of you will complete each other. So if you're an SC profile, you could work with someone like myself who is a DI. I will bring the DI component into your business, which maybe is what is missing right now. For example, if you're an S profile, it's very difficult to take a risk. And then if your business is a risk taker and he just takes risks all the time, you will slow him down with the risk taking and he is going to bring you up with taking risks, and you balanced each other. So this is where a partnership comes along, which is maybe something that you should look into in the future.
It's funny actually that you mentioned that. I wrote in the comments earlier, my natural profile is actually more DC, but I said sometimes you kind of drop in to other profiles depending on certain things around. Like usually I'm not the type to speak very quickly. It just so happened in that question, as I was formulating it, it kind of came out that way. But my natural thing is actually more DC. And
What
that's
do
why
you
I'm
what do
kind
you
of
think you're more, a D or a C? Do you tend to analyze more or to like aim, right? Aim and then shoot, or shoot and then aim?
so sometimes, like for example, in my most recent role, I was working with a company, I was the one, I got things done. Like there was a lot of things which just weren't getting done, and I was just knocking them out one after the other, going through things that hadn't been done for months or years that just needed to get done, and I was just knocking them out. There was things like, oh, we're not sure if we could do this. It's like, just do it. Like this is not a big priority. It doesn't have a massive effect on the company down the line. Do it, and we can, if it's something which we see as negative, we can fix it down the line. But having the two D and C can kind of conflict with each other as well. So there are times I'm like, okay, let's do this. And it's like, well, what about this? What about this? And I can go through all the intricate details down to a granular level. And then it's like, well, what about it kind of they can conflict with each other in that way as well. And that causes
For
trouble
sure, for
sometimes.
sure. The C will slow down and the D will speed up. And then under
Mm.
pressure, it can be that you're more of a C. Like under pressure, you'll be like, okay, wait a second, let's slow down. Or maybe you're a D under pressure and the C is a normal behavior. And these things also come across, by the way, all these answers will be given to you when you take the DISC assessment.
Okay.
And that's why it's very important. That's why I'm trying to keep saying, I want to send you guys a link where you can take the DISC assessment, and then you can just reading your profile is going to help you tremendously to understand maybe even what's holding you back right now. You know, what's missing in your business, what's missing in your own process.
Yeah, thank you. Although I have noticed as well that with these different types of profiles that I've tried, sometimes I'll get different answers depending on, where I
Yeah.
happen to be in that kind of moment.
Well, when you take those assessments, okay, they are going to ask you, normally it's a question with 4 different answers, and then you're going to choose one answer, and then it's going to be a similar question with similar answers. They narrow down how you make a decision. If you're honest about your answers and you're not thinking about a particular reason why you're taking the exam, you're just taking it and you're answering from instincts, like okay, you know exactly when you're starting to analyze and play with the answers, right? So if you don't do that, you get the right results. Look, 95% of the people who take the DISC assessment get a perfect profile sample. Okay, so I suggest you take it. Now, after you take it and you read it, you need to look at the triangle and ask yourself, I have this vision, I'm acting right now, I'm taking action, I have this vision, but I feel also I have this doubt and fear. Let me just write down thoughts of doubt, feelings that you have throughout, when you're thinking about the vision, where to be in 5 years, what can happen, what can't happen. And that's going to help you discover, wait a second, when I'm thinking like this, I'm not aligned with where I want to be in 5 years. Because in 5 years, to achieve the success I want in 5 years, and with this we can close, to achieve the success that I want to achieve in 5 years or in 10 years, I need to become a different person.
That was going to be something I mentioned earlier about when you said like, oh, you have your strengths and that's what you focus on. So I was thinking, well, actually, sometimes we need to work on specific things as well. Like that's where that kind of comes in. It's like, yes, I might be more DC, but maybe I need to work a bit on some of the benefits of the sales. Maybe that's also something which pops into my head.
Yeah, I mean, to be versatile so that you can, but again, you need to remember something else. If you hire someone, if I hire what I'm lacking, I need to hire. Okay, I own my business. You know what I lack? S and C. I lack C. I have some C on my profile, but when it comes time to be patient and sensitive and these type of things, I just can't do it good enough. And even if I learn to be versatile, I can be versatile for 5 minutes. I can also be versatile for maybe half an hour to an hour, but I'm still going to be the driver, and that's going to be my instinct, and that's who I am, and that's how I make decisions. That's how I act. So if I need someone S in my business, I need to hire an S profile. So I will go out there and I will hire an S profile, bring them in, or it can be in hiring, or it can be also a partnership.
Yeah, that is saying it's more the nature. We have our nature, and then we have things we might have worked on, but the nature is usually the
The
strongest.
nature is your gift. The nature is your gift. This is really what you bring to the table. What do you bring to the table in a natural way, not trying to force? Well, what I bring naturally, like you said right now, is a DC. Great. Let's find an IS so we can really get this thing to be perfect. The things that you're missing, they're going to be it. So you don't need to be versatile. It's just it will speed up the process of growing. Your business will grow tenfold sometimes just because you connected with a partner. And then the partner is doing the things that you're missing. And together you're speeding up so fast, it's unbelievable. And I've seen it happen, by the way, many times. Many teams in real estate, as an example, like the team leader will be a driver or a driver expressive, DI. And then they're really missing the S&C, and the S&C is slowing them down dramatically, taking 80% of their day dealing with that stuff. And because they don't want to let go of that, they're going to stay small. And I'll meet them 10 years after, and they're still at the same income ceiling. So challenging yourselves, discovering your DISC profile, understanding that success will align when you guys will align the triangle. You need to feel, think, and act in the same way. The same way. If one of them is off, you will drag the other two. If you're not feeling well about your business, it's going to drag the other two down. Thoughts are going to start coming negative, and then you're going to do less because you don't feel it right now. I don't feel it today. I don't want to make calls, and right. So you need to make sure that you're always aligned on a positive, and the three are aligned. For this, you need meditation. You need to slow down. You need to exercise. You need to wake up early in the morning. You need to keep a healthy body. Exercising, by the way, will immediately fix your mental. When you sit down and you do gratitude exercise, you sit down and you're grateful. You say, thank you, God, for being able to see and feel and hear and having 10 fingers. You know, the small stuff that we don't normally appreciate. When you learn how to appreciate and be in gratefulness, in gratitude, you immediately changed your feelings. So if I'm sitting here and I have doubt and fear, all I have to do is close my eyes and have a 10-minute chat with God and say, thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you for being able to do this, thank you for bringing me here today, thank you for, there's endless things we should thank God for. And then you sit there and you're not just saying it verbally, but you're feeling it. And when you're done with those 10 minutes, 95% of your fear and doubt is gone out the window. Now you can go back to work and go make your phone calls, go do whatever else needs to be done because you're in a positive. And that's why I'm saying the triangle is so important. You need to really understand, where are you? Are you stressed? Then you're not going to become successful stressed. You need to learn ways to relieve the stress. You need to recognize that you're stressed, and you need to find ways to unstress. If you have doubt, you need to find ways to eliminate doubt. Okay, if you have fear, you need to find out, what do you fear? Success, failure, lacking, etc. You find it, and then you take care of that, and then you become a lot more successful in your business, a lot more excited, and people will be attracted to you naturally, to you, to your product, whatever it is that you're doing.
All right, so it's pretty late. It's already 3:09. I see a lot of you have stayed on. We could just do quick questions at this point. If anyone wants to ask a question of Ron, raise your hand. You know, in the React button, there's a place where you could do hand raising. If you raise your hand, we will give you a minute to ask Ron a question before we sign off. Anyone here? Okay. No raising of the hands. Okay. So then this was very interesting. It's definitely very it's a different angle to thinking about business, like you said at the beginning, than just the operations and the processes. There's a lot of inner work, and it's definitely a part. You can't separate the. Someone once said the company will never grow larger than its CEO. So definitely a piece of any business is yourself and your inner work that you need to bring to the table. So hope you all enjoyed and learned from this. And like Ron said, you'll send me the link to the disc. I will send it out to everybody, and whoever takes it will find a way to get
if you guys, by the way, if anybody needs help, like, it's not, you don't need to, don't be shy. You can reach out. Sure, if you want to give them details, they can reach out to me. I can sit with each and every one of you for 30 to 45 minutes after you take your disc profile, if you want. I'll be gladly.
So you're saying
helping
you're offering that as free of charge?
Yeah, of course.
Right,
complimentary.
right.
We'll sit down 30 minutes, the 30 or 45-minute session with anyone who wants to discover, and then we'll give them the disc profile and see where they are. And, hopefully it helps.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Great to see you all. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful Pesach, and God willing, after Pesach, we'll have our next webinar coming up on time management. So stay tuned. You go on our website and register for that. Everyone, all the best. Take care.
Thank you, sure.
Yes, thank you, and be safe. Thank God, no alarms.
Yeah.
So it should keep up for the whole night, God willing.
Exactly. That would be nice.
Yes. Okay. We'll be in touch. Thank you. Thank you.